Maybe I could just ask, have you guys had a chance to tour the museum, and
Oh, uh,
have you been in here all day? Is that what you've done so far today?
we've been in and out. We stayed here for about
It was 2 hours,
2 hours?
and then we went to the Museum of Natural History, and then we came back here and did the Daniel Story exhibit and other things that we might have missed.
Okay, what's your impression of the museum? What have you taken from it or learned from it?
I think it's very important that we have this museum. I've had a wonderful experience overall. I think that it's very touching, and I mean, the range of emotions that you experience when you go through this museum is just amazing. When you see that these things were actually in the Holocaust and that people were actually, there's photographs of people and people are actually in this, and it's not just a story, but it's something that really happened, and it can happen again. It's quite frightening.
What emotions did you feel going through it?
Sadness and anger, because I never thought people could do that to other people. I mean, we all live on the same planet, so I thought, we're all people, no matter what race or what religion you practice or what gender you are, we should all be treated as equals, and I think equality is something that's very important in the world today.
when I first entered the museum, I was actually kind of freaked out because it was so dark in here. But when I entered the elevator, it seemed like a gas chamber, which was a really good effect for, especially since the I forgot what they're called,
What?
what are they called? But the ushers us into the elevator into very large groups, so we can actually get the feel of of what a gas chamber would feel like. But it was so terrifying, and they actually gave us these pamphlets out for identification for one child and adults and stuff like that, and it was just horrible. Mine was a small child. Cornfield was her last name, Hekron, and she was only 3.5 years old, and she died in one of the death camps. It was just so tragic. I just was really sad, but I was also really angry. I was like, how could someone do this to another human being? And it's like, it's just, I just couldn't understand it. And when I walked to the museum, I could feel like all this hatred between the Jewish people, or between the Nazis hating the Jews. And it was just like, why do you hate them? It's just, they're people.
And so what experiences are you meant to draw from this for sort of what goes on in the world today? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's really important that people understand that this is something that is going on, and it's minor. It may be minor, like it could be something as simple as someone bullying some other, because there's experience of personal genocide. It's a small form of genocide, but stopping that could, stop it from escalating. And also that things that can happen, that have happened in our history, could also happen now. And to think that something like that could happen right now is very frightening. And you can take a lot from this experience.
Yeah, as Adriana said, that you can take a lot from this experience. Like, for example, Darfur, there's like a huge amount of genocide, and it's happening right now. And so what we as students must take from this is that we must prevent it by learning about it and then respecting the fact that it happened, and then we as youth has to resolve it by involving ourselves in specific or in general associations that deal with this sort of thing.
Now, has anyone talked to you about what happened here last year with the man who came and killed a security guard here and carried some of those same feelings that went on so long ago? Did anyone talk to you about that?
We've heard about it, but we don't really know the details. I mean, our teachers have told us that there was an incident last year with the security guard, and I think that people need to let go. They need to forgive, but they do not need to forget. And forgiving means accepting the fact that it happened, and that not everyone is going to do that to them. That there was a certain group who were led by a very powerful leader, a very convincing leader, and that thought that people were beneath them, they were below them. So I think that, of course, they should forgive them. They should say, I know this happened, and I apologize for what happened, and I understand that no, not everyone's going to hurt me, and that not all German people are going to be Nazis, and not all German people are going to hate Jewish people, and vice versa. So I think, I think people need to let go of it, but at the same time, they need to preserve the memory that, this is a very important event in our history, and we can't just forget what happened.